got good Roche potential, they've got good team fight, they have good lanes, and they're very easily able to take towers and objectives. Whereas on the other side of things for BetBoom, they've got a lot of combinations that really kind of need to work out. You know, I'm really looking towards Notice to have a good lane here on the Pangolier. They want to make sure that they combine the Global Silence with Roger as well, so he doesn't have to get this early BKB. I think that's one thing that I liked about this opening draft for them. It does open up the potential for a position for Primal Beast, because you've got that Global Silence to be able to be the kind of saving grace for him instead of having to rush a very early BKB. So I'm leaning towards Gaimin Gladiators for game number 1, but if BetBoom get off to a good start and their combos look hot, they definitely have answers for what Gaimin Gladiators are able to do. But double smoke hit. Who won the Ward War,
Smoke
though?
Fist. He did indeed. Let's see. At the same time, you know, BetBoom, we have to remember that you did predict that BetBoom would end up taking this W here. So for the sake of your predictions, let's hope that they help you out, make life a little bit easier. Vision plopped down on both sides here. Looks like we're not going to be having a big thing. And wards, because Vision wins games. Such an important aspect of Dota 2 right now. Let's talk about these lanes before they fully break down here. This mid lane, the Invoker versus Zeus matchup is going to be... There are probably several adjectives to try and use for how boring it's going to be, but not really all that much should happen until one of the S4s come in. So we need Roger and the Primal to show up, or Tofu's Tusk to emerge. But either way, these heroes can't really do anything to each other for a significant portion of the game. So they'll just trade farm on that side. Which side of the map are you looking for the most action to break out of? Actually, I might have a fight here in the river. Roger, he's the one going forward first. Will be a EMP thrown out. So some damage being thrown downfield, but nobody's really going to be in danger of dying. However, the big win will come up for the side of BetBoom here, as they will secure 3 bounty runes off the basis of that movement.
Hashtag worth. A little bit of regen had to be used from them as well, so Roger has to eat through one of his dangers. I definitely feel like bottom lane is probably going to be the lane that's going to have a lot more of the attention put towards it. You really want to try and get Notice off to a good start. Shadow Fiend is one of those extremely strong laners as well, especially paired up with the Tuskar. So it's going to be hard for BetBoom to get this lane going off well. But if they're able to get this Pangolier and the Primal Beast levels early on, it's going to be a pretty scary rotation for them to make towards, you know, either the mid lane or even the safe lane. You know, Roger can be very, very scary once he gets towards that level 5 mark. Same with Notice. Once that Rolling Thunder is up online, he's going to be a very, very scary hero for them to deal with. So I think for me, looking towards bottom lane to see how the Pango comes out on top and see what Duraccio is able to do as well here on the Shadow Fiend, because he has been one of those very dominant, very, very scary laners, especially for these melee offlaners.
Yeah. This SF hero just doing the absolute most. So mid lane, as discussed earlier, is going to be nice and quiet, just trading farm here. Also, this is one of the few games where we know from jump exactly what build Duraccio is going to go for. There's no real option for him to go for the magic damage SF. Playing with the Zeus strat, you've got Alacrity going in. You are here to hit fools and make them hate life with every single right click. So his build pretty much decided for in advance. Bottom lane, they do find a courier kill. This is the price of playing Tofu into this Primal Beast. What can you do? Take a quick look in the top lane though. Dahak and Soniqs doing their best to try and stay and sustain in the lane versus Ace and Celery. This is not a fun lane to play as levels start to accrue. Dahak will be trying to do everything in his power to prevent those levels, getting as many denies as humanly possible. But the more and more levels start going into this Beastmaster summons, the more often that this Chen is able to put more harass pressure on the lane. Firstly, the more often that Soniqs has to be careful about his positioning, but the less likely it is that Dahak can apply pressure back in the opposite direction.
Yeah, Dahak's been doing a really good job of just harassing with the Sakuchi as well, and same with the Geminate attack, so he's actually been able to put a decent amount of pressure back on Ace, but as you said, as soon as these levels start coming through, it's going to be oh so hard for them to be able to deal with this Zoo that's coming through. Surprisingly enough for Ace, though, he hasn't gone for the Boar and Soniqs. Alright, he just took a lot of damage there, so he's just going to go for this Axes build early on. I thought it was just going to be maxed out Call of the Wild. Be interested to see whether or not he puts more levels in this Wild Axes and just tries to kind of chip them down, whereas bottom lane, it seems like they're going to try and go on Duraccio, and that should be okay.
Yeah, that should be fine. A little bit of trample damage coming out there from Roger, but not going to be enough to really threaten Tofu. His courier has also respawned as well, so it's en route, bringing some regen to ensure that he's going to stay alive, so nothing should really happen. This was so frustrating, right? You can put pressure onto the lane partner of the Shadow Fiend, but very rarely can you apply that pressure directly to the SF himself. So even when he's seeing damage just filter in, he's like, well, it's got nothing to do with me, mate. I'm just going to keep hitting creeps. Don't worry about me. I'm just doing my thing.
especially because he's got boots now as well in Tracho. So the only real way that they were able to kill the Shadow Fiend is if they get the shield crash out on him as well, and Roger hits an up roll with a couple of stacks, and they're able to kind of chase down the Shadow Fiend. But now that he's got boots, it's going to be relatively easy for him to stay out of harm's way most of the time. But I mean, Notice is doing really, really well in this bottom lane. He's 18-3 up against the 17-2. Usually when you see these Shadow Fiends, they do a whole lot of work up against these melee heroes. But right now, they're just putting the pressure back on Roger. He could go down.
Yeah. He's been snowballed into right now. Diracho trying to find the angle through the trees. Slowed down by the shield crash. And that'll allow Roger to upheaval himself to safety. And in the meantime, in the top lane, they instead go onto Ace, bringing down this Beastmaster as Dahak finding himself the first blood. How did that happen, I wonder? He probably just took way too much harass. He does have the 1-1-1 available on this Weaver. But bottom lane, best part about what just happened here is that yes, you not just keep the life alive of Roger. That was a lot of resources wasted on Diracho and Tofu. So Diracho will not have enough mana for the full triple raise combo for quite some time. Has the Ring of Bassi to help out. But until he has more mana, Notice can actually play a little bit further forward without having to worry about his life being taken away in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? As soon as you see that Shadow Fiend doesn't have mana for a triple raise, yes, the double raise is still going to hurt, but it's not going to be enough to be able to take you down unless you're like really in a bad position. But Notice has been doing a really good job at being able to kind of just force the creep wave into such a position that Diracho doesn't want to go for a lot of these raises. Obviously, getting the raindrops early on is always good for Notice, but I mean, BetBoom are playing really, really well across all these lanes, right? Like, we're looking towards Lyle, he's doing a good job towards the mid lane. We touched on the fact that it is just going to be a bit of a farm fest, but the fact that Dahak is doing so well on this Weaver top, getting that early kill with the nice little early level of the Swarm, just puts BetBoom in a really, really good spot, because when you're playing against these Zoo strats, you want to make sure that the early game isn't too hard for you. Speaking of too hard,
Diracho finds himself exploited way too far forward. Tofu tries to save him. Not going to be able to do so. He actually might die himself. Notice trying to utilize these creeps to block off the tier 1 tower damage. Unfortunately, though, not enough levels into the swashbuckle. So as a result, he will not have a bonus cooldown. Just has to watch as Tofu gets himself away. Huge kill that ends up happening on this side of the map. You were just talking about how well Dahak is doing top. Diracho was supposed to just be able to completely free-farm this lane for as long as humanly possible without necessarily dying for a while, but he ends up losing his life instead. Top lane, Dahak also just got a kill onto Celery. And BetBoom just starting to feel themselves all across the map right now. There's no lane where they are coming out in any kind of disadvantage. They're winning up on top. They just got some kills down on this bottom lane. It is really middle where things are even and tied up, but the thing that's frustrating and complicated about this here, Mr. Fluke, is that the only hero that can really make things happen on the other lanes to help out is this Tofu Tusk. And I don't think they can afford to really have him vacate this bottom lane, given how precious Diracho's life is.
Yeah, I was going to touch on the fact that Tofu needs to be the one that makes these rotations earlier on, but then I noticed how good the lane was going for BetBoom, right? Like, Notice he's level 4, he's getting close towards that level 5. Roger's level 4 as well here on the Primal Beast. If they notice even a lick of Tofu going towards any of these other lanes, then BetBoom are going to instantly capitalize. They just come in with the charge, they're able to just get the onslaught going on top of the Shadow Fiend. They get the trample on top of him as well, and then as soon as there's a swashbuckle or a shield crash, SF will go down. Thunder God's Wrath is able to take down Asen towards the top lane as well, and it just feels like this is going from bad to worse for Gaimin Gladiators. They're the ones that are supposed to be on the front foot, but BetBoom, they have won all 3 of their lanes so far, or at least gone even, and they are extremely happy with how these 7 minutes are going. I'm really looking towards Gaimin Gladiators to try and get a group up going soon, once they start getting their level 6s and maybe a little bit more items, to try and take one of these towers and wrangle back control.
What honestly is amazing about that kill that they got in the top lane onto Ace is not just the kill itself, but beforehand, we'll talk about it in a second, Roger just upheavals, comes through with the onslaught rather, just to make space. The snowball will go forward onto Noticed. Roger, he's there just to make sure that there's no shenanigans. It'll be cool, it'll be fine. They cancelled the TP top, or they forced Celery to cancel his TP. He was trying to come bottom so that they could try and make a jump with Tofu in the area. But they weren't able to do it, and not only that, they were also able to turn the aggression back onto this Beastmaster. And speaking of this aggression, the very scary thing about all of this is that Laurel has already provided some support from the mid lane using the Thunder God's Wrath. At some point, he will be able to leave this part of the map and come to where you are, and when that starts to happen, oh boy, with these under-leveled heroes, they're just going to become food for the Zeus burst damage as this game goes on. And Laurel's about to pick up a haste rune. I'm not sure if he wants to do anything with this just yet, and it looks like The question to that answer is he does as he starts to move bottom. This is very scary. He activates it right now. They're going in. The onslaught catches onto Diraicho. He's been trampled up. Tofu buys time, but this just buys time for Lol to set up nicely for his spells. They've already gotten Diraicho killed. Tofu almost certainly follows him into the grave. A double kill for the Zeus. And at the same time, they're busy losing Ace in the top lane. Taken down by Soneko and Dahak. Boom has rotated to the top lane to try to get revenge here, but he can't find Soneko. Juked in the trees, and here comes the support from Lol. Suddenly, Boom getting turned around upon. Lol getting a map-wide triple kill. And Soneko showing us that he's got those signed Jordans in his back pocket, juking out the Invoker and surviving the team fight in the top lane.
Oh my god, while that fight was going towards bottom, I was watching towards the top lane. I was like, okay, what is Boom able to do here on the Invoker? This needs to be a big rotation. If they're able to at least save Ace for a little bit longer, if they're able to get a kill and turn around here for Gaimin Gladiators, then they're going to be a-okay with it. But I don't know, man. The fancy feat from Soneko, the Hawks just looks absolutely untouchable on this Weaver early on. It's 8-0, 3k net worth at 9 minutes in. You are definitely very far behind the 8 ball if you are Gaimin Gladiators right now. BetBoom have been overplaying all these lanes. They have been playing extremely well so far, and it just feels like they're just kind of getting out-skilled in a lot of these lanes. You know, we talked about the Gaimin Gladiators. They have this really good Zeus strat. They have a strong lane with the Shadow Fiend Tusk. They weren't able to put any pressure onto the Pangolier. And Notice has just had a pretty free time, and he's just going to get a Rolling Thunder to get away. Okay, he should be okay.
He's out. In the meantime, top lane, Celery is getting chomped down by Dahak. They just ran him down underneath his own tier 1 tower. We're at that point now, Fluke, where tier 1s don't protect you anymore. You just end up dead. And to make matters worse here, look at the build that Dahak is going for. Queuing up this early Perseverance, he wants to lead off with this Lincoln Sphere, and that'll make life extremely difficult for Ace. We're talking about how they don't have that much disable. The only real disable is like Primal Roar into burst damage, which, to be fair, they have a lot of. The burst damage is certainly there. But if you can't get the Primal Roar off, then it's like, yeah. Well, game is hard right now. Let's talk about a Fluke. What do they need to do on the side of Gaimin Gladiators to start exerting pressure back in the opposite direction? They have yet to get any kills on the map. They haven't been able to apply any tower pressure. They are having a rough time even getting to their key items. What is the game plan here? Is there any way that they can smoke up with access to the Primal Roar right now and try and force a fight on the map?
Well, they've got the Helmet of Dominator as well. I'd like to see them make a rotation towards bottom. It's one of their easier kills to try and get if they're able to take down Roger. But
speaking of bottom, they're jumping onto Diraicho. Global Silence finally does come out. Soneko, first utilization of this in the game. Pulverize will go down onto Tofu, ensuring that he has no escape even with the snowball. Drops these ice shards, but Soneko's on the other side with the Arcane Curse. A dominating streak for Silencer. Not something that we see every day of the week. But nonetheless, we're seeing it here in the opening game of the group stages at CI11 as BetBoom are just oppressive on the map against Gaimin Gladiators. Normally, when you tell me that a squad is busy pushing down towers, forcing fights at 11 minutes in, I normally imagine that's the squad with Beastmaster, Shadow Fiend, Shen Tusk. Not the team on the receiving end of these, but top lane, Dahak might die here. Tornado connects onto him. Will he have enough mana to EMP out of this? He gets Hurricaned into the EMP, so he can't time-lapse, but then he gets off the wand. Will time-lapse? Will he be able to survive? No, he will not. Finally does end up getting brought down, but Plan has come in, looking for revenge. These heroes are all clustered up here, Fluke, so this Rolling Thunder is going to absolutely destroy them. 3 heroes have already fallen. Celery will follow them to make it 4. And Gaimin Gladiators, they smoked up to try and make something happen on the map. And to be fair, they do get the kill onto Dahak, but at what cost? And it might cost Diraicho now. He was going for the Arcane Rune. Little did he know he was just going to gift the triple kill towards this Pango. As the Orphlane noticed Pango having the game of his life, involved in 10 kills in the first 12 minutes. Everything coming up BetBoom right now.
Oh boy, it's 16-1 at 12 minutes in, 6k net worth lead. You know, the rule of thumb in Dota is if the net worth lead is more than the minutes in the game, then you are definitely looking towards a free win for that team. We're not at that point just yet, but BetBoom, they are so far ahead on levels. They are so far ahead on gold. The Gaimin Gladiators, they had to walk all the way towards top. I feel like Ace was a little bit late on the Primal Roar. I understood what he was trying to do. He was waiting until the time-lapse came in so they could guarantee that there was no way that he was going to be able to get out of that. But it just meant that they spent those extra couple of seconds having to wait for the time lapse to come out. Dahak eventually goes down, so it was a big kill. But they spent so much time trying to get into that Roger came in with the onslaught, and that was just all she wrote. And now look at the amount of pressure that BetBoom are putting across everybody on Gaimin Gladiators.
Speaking of the onslaught, it was used to initiate this fight. Tofu, at the very least, was able to screen for the Beastmaster so that Ace could escape this part of the map, but this triangle, not a safe place to be, even if it's your side of the triangle. BetBoom just feeling so good. Like you just mentioned, pressure is the word and the name of the game. And to make matters even more difficult for themselves is that we've just gotten this diffusal on the Pangolier, but look what's coming soon for Lol. Lol is building into this early Aghanim Scepter. If he can get this at like the 18-minute mark with like Kaya Ags this early on into the game, well before you have anything resembling defensive items to keep you alive, we're far from the mech. No one has anything to deal with magic damage. Mid lane, actually, we might have another kill happening. Boom, getting rolled in on with this Rolling Thunder. He's stuck in a corner. Dirajo will be ignored for now.
Oh, nice shot.
And Tofu, if Tofu doesn't get those shots, I think he actually dies on Dirajo. Nonetheless, Notice happy with getting this boom kill. Though that is one aspect of their draft that is going to take quite some time to become better on the side of BetBoom. They really have a bad capacity for pushing. But when your entire enemy team is spending most of their time being dead at this stage of the game, pushing becomes a lot easier. In mid lane, Dirajo! What? This magic damage from Laurel. Onslaught comes in straight into the burst from Lol, and there used to be an SF there, but not anymore.
Oh, that's just... Roger just seems to be able to sniff him out today. Obviously, some beautiful wards, being able to have that place towards that hard camp there just meant that Roger had exact information about where everything was going. And that's kind of the pitfalls of Shadow Fiend, right? Like, if you're able to get on top of him, then it's really, really hard for you to try and get away from it. That's why I like this opener coming in from BetBoom. Even though I'm a massive Silencer hater, I think this hero is garbage and people shouldn't be picking it. But they're proving the reason why it's good.
It's good for situations where you just get free easy damage. Top lane Celery, he TP'd in and he's already dead. Ace, my friend, can you get out of here? There's no Primal Roar combo. Okay, he's actually going to turn around with it. Global Silence will come out, but using the Walrus Punch, they are able to kill this Pango. Unfortunately, that means that the Hawk knows he's 100% free to do whatever the hell he wants. Not going to go too aggressive here onto Ace. Instead, going to turn his attention towards the Dirajo. You were talking about how Roger can sniff this man out. Indeed he can.
Oh, he missed.
Smells like Raicho to me. Finding him. Can he close the gap for the Pulverize? Yes, he can. Gets the grab. Gets the damage. There will be a full Requiem that does come out. Fears this hero's away for a little bit. Boom does come in. Roger, not dead just yet though. Swarm Bugs will connect. Roger does eventually die, but the cost might be heavy. Unfortunately, the Hawk doesn't have access to a Maelstrom or to Desolator just yet, so he doesn't actually deal damage on this Weaver. And as a result, can't kill Dirajo. But still, you're forcing heroes in towards the Radiant Triangle. They just taken a small engagement top. They would love to have been able to put pressure on the tier 1 tower. And now suddenly you can't do that. All these heroes got dragged back. And even though Dirajo survives, the game plan itself gets set back.
Yeah. I feel like that's relatively even for both these teams, right? Obviously, you're starting to get a few kills here for Gaimin Gladiators. You don't lose your tier 1 tower top. Yeah, you aren't able to push your own tier 1 tower, but you're getting some big kills, right? You're able to take down, you know, the heroes like Roger. You're able to take down Notice in that previous fight as well. So they're starting to slowly climb back, but it is a very, very long road for Gaimin Gladiators. And it could get to a point where they really just can't deal with this damage. BetBoom kind of overstepped their mark a little bit here. Like, I understand that they want to keep putting this pressure on, right? If you're able to keep a draft like this down, then you're just able to run over the map, get yourself to first Roshan, and then it was able to kind of just blow the game out from there. But I think right now BetBoom realized they just need a little bit more of these items. The Hawk just needs to get this Lincolns, get a little bit more of these damage items going forward. If Roger's able to get this BKB early on, he's going to be a menace to play around with. You know, maybe try and bring some more of these heroes together that'll try and take down Dirajo, but they are just kind of testing their limits, BetBoom. They know that they're very far ahead, and they're just testing the waters to see how far they can really abuse this. Because if they get that kill with Roger at the Hawk on Dirajo, then this game blows wide open, right? They start getting towards the 8k, 9k net worth lead. Dirajo is so far behind. All he has is a Mask of Madness. Roger gets closer and closer to that BKB, and then things just snowball from there. So BetBoom now, they're going to bring a lot more heroes here and try and take this triangle back once again and get this tier 1 tower.
Let's see where the smoke goes. Roger The attack dog, normally, he's the one that makes the first initial jump. Beautiful tornado from Boom to hold him back. Primal Roar will be committed onto the Primal Beast. And there's Soniqs with the Global Silence. Roger might still end up dead here. Ace, though, caught in with the Nimbus Cloud. Should end up dead thanks to this Rolling Thunder as well. So we're going to be trading the life of Ace for the life of Roger. BetBoom will be okay with this. They're fine. They have committed the Nimbus, though, so they probably want to sit back on this, as well as giving up the Global Silence. We are starting now to see a little bit of the problem with their lineup. Their inability to push here, Fluke. They've lost the tier 1 tower now in this mid lane. I don't think they'll be able to punish Dyraicho off the back of this. And they're still struggling to take the tier 1 tower in top. So despite having a pretty commanding lead, like imagine, for example, we lived in the counterfactual world where GG had this lead. Can you imagine how little map space BetBoom would have to play with? But they at least will have that second bite at the cherry. Top lane, Tofu should end up dying here. Will he? Notice? He sees him, slowed him down. He's dead. Yeah, got it.
That was close. It was almost Tofu able to get around, but exactly what you said, right? Like, they don't really take towers. I think only the Weaver is the only one that's going to be able to do any more of this tower damage, and BetBoom realize this right now. Okay, so we're going to have a bit of a pause, so we can kind of get a good idea about the game state, right? Obviously, 7,000 gold lead. Right now, it's 4-2-2. Oh, we just missed the 3-2-2.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. We're so close.
That's unfortunate. Either way, BetBoom, they're in a really good spot, but they need to start taking some more of this map control back, right? Like, you can see that Dyraicho and Boom are slowly able to start to claw back the lead. They're still very, very far behind, but if they're able to get another 10 minutes or so, you know, not losing too much, if they only lose tier 1 towers, that's okay. If they don't lose any of these Roshans, that's okay as well. And then once they're able to get this snowball going, you can see how hard it is for BetBoom to try and play around these fights with, you know, Raw, when they've got the EMP, the Tornado, anything that Dyraicho is able to throw in as well. So they've definitely got the tools for Gaimin Gladiator, but BetBoom are now starting to dot their I's and cross their T's, right? They take this tier 1 tower, they go directly into Roshan, they're going to get themselves an Aegis, they'll get their next round of items, and then it's really just going to be about making these next couple of team fights extremely clean. And then once BetBoom gets that done, take these tier 2 towers and really start to close out the game.
Doesn't seem like BetBoom will be contested for this Aegis. They should be able to take it quite easily. Even if GG knew about this, right now they have other priorities, finishing these next round of items. Shadow Fiend desperate for a BKB. The same is true for the Invoker. If they can get BKBs before the next big fight breaks out, that does represent a pretty meaningful difference in their capability of taking these fights. Speaking of BKB, Dyraicho, get out. Oh, get out. TP, quickly. Oh no, here comes the attack dog. It's Roger. What's up, buddy? You miss me? What's happening? Finds him in the trees. Catches him out. Dyraicho has just had the worst luck this game. Somehow Roger just has a perfect beat onto him. Not really sure how he's capable of doing it time and time again. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one that made the call. It's like, lol, bro, throw in the off there. I'm pretty sure he's top. However, that's a dead SF. That's an Aegis in tow for the side of BetBoom. Interestingly enough, look who the Aegis target was. They chose not to give it to the Zeus or the Weaver. They give it to the Notice Pangolier instead. Probably reading that this is the only hero that's going to be reliably far enough forward that there's at any risk of dying. And if he dies, we're probably going to end up losing the Zeus and the Weaver anyway in that fight. So this is an interesting switch up in terms of Aegis target. But I kind of like it given how they've been playing the last like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I definitely like it as well. I think Notice has been the one that's been roared the last couple of team fights as well. As you said, he's one that's going to be at the front. Roger's going to go in with the onslaught. Notice is going to follow in second. And if the Weaver and Zeus get caught out anyways by like a Raw or a Tusk combination, they're most likely going to be taking a lot of damage or relatively dead in the first place. So I like them doing this. They're able to start to finally put some pressure on these tier 2 towers. I like what Celery is doing, though, being on the other side of the map, just trying to get some more of these creeps flowing through, just trying to do a little bit of damage to these tier 1 towers, trying to get a little bit of gold back for the team as well. And if they're able to get a bit more of this map control on the other side of the map, maybe if Celery is able to get out, if he gets scot-free, that might be okay. But Ace, he's being caught out. Oh, he's definitely dead.
Oh, no. Well, he gets caught in literally the worst position ever. Gets onslaughted into this little ramp, and that sets up for the Rolling Thunder perfectly. Poor Celery is actually trying to set up a potential kill there. After he plopped down this Observer Ward, he sees the Primal Beast coming in, and he's like, look, Ace, man, we've got a Hawk here. Nobody else is nearby this beast. Let's go on him. Just come in and roar him, bro. If you roar him, he'll die. And that's true, but the onslaught came faster than the roar, and he just got demolished afterwards. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, it's never good when you try and go for these desperate plays, right? Like they know that they're extremely far behind. They need to try and get something out of the map. That's why I like Celery playing on this right-hand side, just taking that tier 1 tower, just trying to take the triangle. So at least gives them an idea about where BetBoom are playing. Yeah, they might not have eyeballs on them directly, but they're going to know that, you know, Dahak's in this top half of the map. They know that Lyle's going to be around here as well. We might be able to get a bit more of this safe farm and move towards some of these items that are actually allowing us to team fight, because Roger's the only one that's sending any bit of aggression towards this side. Now Celery's just going to bite the dust. Yep. Trampled, dead. But they are making a rotation here with the smoke. So if they're able to get 2 of these kills here, this could be big. Oh, they got revealed.
Oh no, they got the reveal. They kill Ace actually elsewhere on the map. So Neko does commit the global silence, doesn't do all that much, but he's beckoning for reinforcements as the rolling thunder from Notice, it comes in. He's found Diraicho, the primo target to pick up. Invoker goes BKB, TP out, the only strat available to him. But Diraicho, his BKB not complete just yet, so all he can do is die. And yes, they found the target they were looking for. Yes, they found the smoke into the kill onto Roger. I mean, for Diraicho, any kill onto Roger must be deeply, deeply satisfying, but definitely not worth it.
Yep. Delays his BKB once again. Means that there's just more gold on the map here for BetBoom, blown out to now 10k gold. There was a stack that they wanted to try and take after that Roger kill. You saw Diraicho send his attention towards that ancient stack, but now Soniqs was one that was able to hoover all that up. So he's feeling pretty good with how this answer game is going. BetBoom just constantly understanding that they know that they can't pressure into these towers much faster than what Gaimin Gladiators can. So whenever they see that any of these heroes are in a position that they can get counter ganked, that's when they're always putting the pedal to the metal, because they know with these few seconds that we have these Gaimin Gladiators guys on the sideline, that's free damage on a tower. You know, it's free damage for the Hawk to be able to sit here and start to take some of these towers, but this game is starting to slow down a little bit. 24 minutes in here. Haven't really been able to see any kind of avenues just yet for Gaimin Gladiators. Like, we can see how much time and effort it takes them to get 1 kill on a Roger. If this was a full-blown 5-on-5 team fight, I feel like this would be a 5-0, then we might see some cheese drop. But BetBoom, they're definitely in the driver's seat right now, especially with this Basher being picked up. Roger's completed his own BKB. Lyle's got the boots of travel. Like, it just seems like there's going to be a whole lot that Gaimin Gladiator is going to have to try and out-team fight to at least try and pull themselves back in, especially now if Boom gets caught out. No? Okay.
Nice one. There's some good news coming, though. BKB just completed for Diraicho, so the delivery will be coming in on that one. And at the same time, Tofu just very recently finished off the Blink Dagger. Ace, what's Ace bringing in? So they actually have a raft of items arriving simultaneously. Drums, I think, are going to be picked up as well by the Ace Beastmaster with a cloak into the Hood of Defiance for the chin. The smoke will get scouted, though, by Laurel, who has just also really been on point with exactly when to throw out the Thunder God's Wrath to suss out these gank attempts. If he doesn't do so, they might not be prepared for an upcoming fight. But the fight is coming. Roshan has expired, so there's no Aegis available. They come in. Tofu, they get the good jump onto Soniqs. They will be able to kill him. No! They can't. Roger does die first, but Soniqs can't get off the global silence just yet. Nimbus Cloud drop down. 3 heroes will destroy it here from the side of Gaimin Gladiators, but it does cost the BKB. Bash. The swashbuckle bashes Boom, so he's forced to BKB as well. And now finally here comes Soniqs with the global silence. Patience coming in from him. Diraicho, he's in danger. Can he get off the Requiem? He can indeed, as Tofu able to get into the backline and bring down the silencer. Notice though, taking right-click damage coming in from Diraicho. So that's 3 heroes that they've taken away from this fight. The side of BetBoom, turns out that when they fight without Roger, the fight itself is very difficult to accomplish. It was mostly a 4v5, and Gaimin Gladiators get something out of it at long loss. It's not done yet, though, as mid lane, Dahak gets caught with the tornado. Time-lapse will not be available for him as a result. We'll just eat a young Sunstrike, but it's fine. They don't have the damage to kill him. Okay, if you're ever going to ask for a route back into the game, it would be a 1-team fight right after Roshan expires. No Aegis available to save another life. And Diraicho, also the main beneficiary of that fight here, Fluke. Almost 900 gold picked up by the SF. So this was going to curtail the timing towards his Daedalus, making him feel a lot stronger in these team fights all of a sudden.
Yeah, that definitely was a really great team fight from Gaimin Gladiators. They were getting kited out a little bit there by overstepping was BetBoom. They just kind of walked themselves in awkward scenarios where they didn't have the global silence, they didn't have their primal beast, so there was no pulverize for them to be able to get on top of the Shadow Fiend or the Invoker. And we saw that it was a nice sort of target prioritization from Tofu, right? They went instantly out onto the silencer of Soneko, and he had to kind of just put himself in a weird position. They had to force stuff away, they had this high ground, and now this is where BetBoom are starting to feel a little bit nervous. The Shadow Fiend's getting towards the point where he does a whole lot of this right-click damage, and we saw how little damage Dahak actually does now. All he's got is a Lincoln Sphere and a Maelstrom, so he doesn't actually burst through you like we've seen these Weavers that they have, you know, the Mjolnir, the Deso at this time in the game, and maybe starting to lack a little bit of this damage. I think the big thing for BetBoom in that last team fight is Lal kind of ran out of mana. He got towards a point where he had very, very little mana, so he couldn't actually continue to pump in a lot of this damage now with the Aghanim Shard. So maybe if BetBoom take a fight with this Arcane Rune as well, it might start to look a little bit scary, but yeah, BetBoom put themselves in an awkward spot and kind of got out-team fought there by Gaimin Gladiators, and this game is starting to peter back to normalcy. If another one of these fights goes the way of Gaimin Gladiators, might be singing a different tune.
Let's see how the fight's gonna go, because top lane, the fight has already been announced with the onslaught coming in. And the global silence, look who they've caught first. It is the SF of Dyraicho. He couldn't get off his BKB.
Huge.
He finally does, but he's too little HP. He's standing his ground though. Look at him go with the Mask of Madness. Dyraicho turning things around, will eventually die at the end of the fight, but who the hell cares? He's taken out 2 in the process. They've already gotten the tier 2 tower as well, as BetBoom find out that they can't actually take the rest of the fight. They thought they had what it took to kill Dyraicho quickly, but that turned out not to be the case, as he stood his ground on the SF, helped his team win the team fight, get the tier 2 tower, and for the most part get out to safety, because yet again BetBoom expended all of their resources but can't get more than 1 core kill.
Yeah, Dyraicho, the Giga Chad, just stood his ground there, popped the BKB, popped the Requiem out, and just started throwing hands. And Gaimin Gladiators, they are more than happy with that fight, but you can see the kind of fault that Gaimin Gladiators draft has, right? Once Dyraicho is down, they have no damage. So they understand that if they're able to get a lot of this extra work going with the Shadow Fiend up, he's got the Chrysalis, he does a lot of damage in these team fights, that once he goes down, then BetBoom kind of have the way of the team fight. So really liking what I'm seeing from Gaimin Gladiators right now. A few more of these items, and this game can start to get back to normalcy for them.
Honestly, looking back at that replay, it also is very clear that Notice saves the fight pretty hard. If he doesn't get that secondary bash onto the SF through the BKB, then SF actually gets the 3rd hero kill while still in BKB. And then you probably don't end up dying. You just walk away from that fight. So Notice did his job, certainly, but BetBoom have a lot more to go. As you were mentioning earlier, one of the main issues is outlay of damage in a short span of time. And Dahak, he's finished an Eye of Skadi now. It's flying in, just been delivered. So that is some additional presence, but it's not like out-and-out burst damage. And to make matters worse, he feels he needs a BKB. So we're not going to get any closer towards having that damage. Unless, of course, they can win this upcoming team fight. And that'll put some gold in his coffers to build more damage. Noticed, he's the first one on the high ground here. They're camped up quite nicely from the side of GG. The smokes will break. Law goes in for the ultimate. Roger won't be able to connect with this initial onslaught here. The damage onto Notice. He's in such a poor place. Roger gets primal roared up. The primal beast is primal road, and he's primal dead as he gets right-clicked down by Ace and the boys. That is going to allow them to exert pressure onto the Roshan pit. The big man has just respawned. He has an Aegis in tow, a shard to drop down, and there's no buyback on Roger. But to make matters even worse, they committed the Rolling Thunder, they committed the Global, they committed all of Zeus's spells, and nobody died again here, Fluke. GG are starting to get to that point. They commit the Requiem around the Roshan pit just to protect it, but there's nothing they can do on BetBoom to deny Dyraicho an Aegis, and now he's definitely feeling like the strongest hero on this map.
Yeah, they're definitely in a really, really good spot right now. As long as Dyraicho isn't the one that gets initiated, but it's another fight that comes out. No, Lol!
He gets jumped! He gets jumped first! Lol, he gets out of the heavenly jump though. Somehow, some way, very broken and unfair spell. He's still alive. They do manage to drop down this Nimbus Cloud. Dyraicho happy to stand his ground. They just want to get out right now. They realize that without Tofu, they can't make those kind of surprise jumps anymore, and they have the respawn onto Roger. So it's time for them to escape. They'll sacrifice a lot of this army to allow themselves to get out of dodge. That was so close. There was a little bit of miscommunication there between Dyraicho and Tofu. If Dyraicho turns his attention directly onto Lal, Lal is dead, 100%. He was on so low HP, but you know, Tofu did make that miraculous jump in the heat of the moment. I'm not sure he expected to see Law there as well.
Yeah.
But they bounce them away from the fight, and they still keep the Aegis in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, they keep the Aegis. They're starting to wrangle back this net worth. Jirachi is becoming the scariest hero on the map. And we see this is the reason why I haven't really been ultra impressed with Weavers as of late. I think they need quite a lot of items to start to do a lot of this damage. And Dahak going for this early Lincolns, and then going in towards the Skadi, and then now having the Maelstrom. You just see that he doesn't do that much damage in these team fights. And outside of the Zeus, a lot of these other heroes are mainly kind of a little bit of that control, don't really have the burst damage. Yeah, Notice is able to do a lot of work with the Basher and the Diffusal Blade, but he's going to be rolling around quite a lot. So the way that we're looking at this right now, I'm starting to get nervous here, Snare. I'm really starting to get nervous because I think Gaimin Gladiators are able to wrangle this back. Yeah, they're down by 5k gold, but Jirachi, he's large and in charge, bro.
Yep. Mans is huge. Just picked up his Daedalus right now. We see as well that Boom has gotten to the point with maxed out Exort. So if Jirachi gets Alacrity in these fights, within a Beast Aura, Divine Favor from the Chen, they've got Mech Aura, they've got the Wild Ring Aura. This has got everything to make Jirachi as huge as humanly possible. All he has to do is stand there and right-click fools.
Yeah.
I'm getting just as scared as you because Gaimin is starting to tell us that, hey, look at the win probability. It's going north instead of going south. True. It's 36% right now, but it is trending in their favor. And for the next couple minutes, they still have access to this Aegis to try and make the map more of their own. To be fair, though, to the side of BetBoom, they have managed a wonderful job of pushing in these lanes, and they're cutting these creep waves through middle as well with Roger. So they're ensuring that despite the fact that GG are very strong to fight, there's no great place to fight with. So.
Yeah. And I think that's the best thing that BetBoom can do right now. They understand that it is very, very hard for them to go head-on into Gaimin Gladiators. They're just going to try and get their best out of the map. Dahak's going to see if he can try and get damage on this Tier 2 tower, but they have to try and defend this Tier 3. Jirachi's just going to stand on the front line. We talked about it in the draft, right? It seems like this is a Shadow Fiend or nothing draft that comes in from Gaimin Gladiators. They've got a lot of auras. They've got a lot of ways to be able to get these Shadow Fiend as buffed up as possible. And now BetBoom, they're looking to come in. If they can find Jirachi here and blow him up, this could be a good fight.
I want to force this fight, but unfortunately, they've already just committed the Thunder God's Wrath. They're trying to get some spells out. Here comes the Rolling Thunder forward. Notice, losing HP on these right clicks. Boom forced into the BKB as well. So 2 BKBs popped by the 1 and 2 of the side of GG. Onslaught from Roger, but Roger, this time, not this time, my friend. It used to work earlier on when these heroes were afraid of you. Now you're the one that has to play a lot more scared. He just gets straight up right-click down. And unfortunately, that is also a commitment of the global silence to try and cover his initiation. But even without the global, because I think Tofu did manage to get off a very fast snowball. But even without it, the right-click damage, Roger was dead to rights, no matter what.
Yep, Roger definitely was just going to get clicked down by Jirachi anyways, so... Again, BetBoom, they understand. Like, they understand that this game is slowly starting to slip away. Jirachi has finally gotten to the point. It has been a long time for him to get to this point here, Snare. He's still 2-8 here on the Shadow Fiend. His KDA doesn't look pretty, but he is so scary on the map right now. He's got Alacrity behind him. Look at the amount of buffs this guy has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He has 12 positive buffs when he's standing around his Chen, when he has Alacrity on him. How are you supposed to get through this many buffs, man? I really don't know. Maybe if Gaimin Gladiators get caught out in this retreat, but the fact that Jirachi is this scary Shadow Fiend, and this is why, you know, during the draft, I liked the response that came in from BetBoom. They had heroes to be able to put the pressure onto the Shadow Fiend, but they just didn't close the game out. They were up by about 10,000 gold, and we just saw the issues they had with taking these towers. They weren't able to really kind of close this game out, and now it's finally got to the point where they've been able to wait long enough on Gaimin Gladiators, and Jirachi he's a beast, man. Like, I don't know how they're supposed to kill him. They'll kill him twice.
Well, they're going to try and make it more difficult for them to kill him, as he's going to be very soon building into having a Satanic as well. So we already saw the difference just having some degree of lifesteal can have for him. Imagine he can pop Satanic as well in the midst of these team fights. How BetBoom ever get him low is going to be beyond me. They still lack all the physical damage burst in the world. Yes, we do see Dahak building into the Chrysalis right now to try and ameliorate that fact, but it's still going to be rough going for quite some time unless they can catch him with his pants down and blow him up during the young combo of their 4 onslaughts into the pulverize from Roger. That feels like the only time they can really have Jirachi in an awkward position, but They need to drop everything on his head. And they need to do it without Tofu being nearby to jump in with the snowball save. And speaking of Tofu, look at his build. Dude, Tuskus almost has access to the Walrus kick. 2 items away and only actually has the gold. Pretty much.
Yep.
You can buy this item right now on the full axe.
Thanks to some more of that extra bit of gold. I love this, the Walrus kick that comes in from Tusk these days. Obviously, they made it a little bit nicer to be able to use. Before it was, you were kicked in the direction that the Tusk was facing, so it felt a little bit more awkward for you to try and get those positionings, try and really kind of outplay people. Now it's vector targeting. So you blink in on the Tusk, you can kick anybody whichever which way that you want to do it. You can also do it coming in from a snowball as well, so you can get the blink snowball, kick somebody out back towards your team. And if you displace any of these heroes, if you displace the Silencer, if you displace this Zeus, it is going to be so hard for BetBoom to try and peel. They don't really have good heroes that are able to peel for the Zeus or the Silencer. So once Gaimin Gladiators get into these positions where Dyrachyo is in front of one of these 2 heroes to be able to right-click them, if Tofu's able to find them out, Walrus kicked them in the back, Boom's just able to sit there throughout these spells in the background as well, not have to worry about this Zeus, not have to worry about this Silencer throwing out any of these extra annoying arcane curses, then that's when it's really, really scary for BetBoom, because they need to be positioned extremely well. They need to try and kite out Dyrachyo's BKB, they need to try and catch him lacking, to try and get him blown up so they can get rid of this Shadow Fiend, because that is all that Gaimin Gladiators are holding on to right now. But it is very, very hard for you to kill this Shadow Fiend. So there's 2 very kind of straightforward stories for both these 2 teams. Gaimin Gladiators, keep Dyrachyo alive. BetBoom, kill Dyrachyo.
And speaking of Dyrachyo, he got Alacrity up, plus 94 damage. Seems fair and balanced. I see no problem with this. As they chomp down the tier 3 tower from pretty much full to almost dead. And the very scary thing about this, right, is we've been so focused on the prowess and the power of Dyrachyo that it's easy to forget that this is technically a pushing draw from the side of Gaimin Gladiators.
True.
So if BetBoom ever actually lose a fight outside of the base even, it still doesn't guarantee safety for your buildings. Because they can just come there so quickly onto your side of the map. And now it's all about them trying to figure out what their next play is. They really want the Chrysalis. They have it. I'm not sure if they'll save for full buyback first onto Hawk before getting the Mjolnir. Mid lane, they're going to make this jump though onto Tofu. Will he die here? Yes, he will. Despite Chen popping the all heal, I think if he maybe pop Pipe, I think he lives there, but I'm not sure if he was in range to get him within the radius. So just has to watch Tofu die. It is their 4 position. The question is, will BetBoom try to exert more pressure? And they're trying to. Here in middle, they got a stun out onto Dyrachyo. He's losing some HP. E-Blade connect onto him, but he has the BKB. Forced to commit it just to get out. Roger getting forward. But they've already started to sound the retreat. Gaimin Gladiators all gone. Some of these creeps will be left behind, but, well, everybody needs bodyguards, so it's fine.
I like that fight that comes in from BetBoom. We saw the interaction when they don't have Tofu to worry about, that Lyle is able to kind of play freely in these fights. He's able to, you know, use things like his E-Blade offensively. He's able to get that heavenly jump going forward. He's able to blink into better positions. So once they've gotten rid of Tofu here, BetBoom feel a little bit more confident with how these team fights are going. And Dyrachyo had a DD rune in that fight. He could have popped BKB, run forward, been a little bit of a scary boy, but as soon as that E-Blade came out, it was a lot of damage. They came in from BetBoom and really put Dyrachyo on the back foot. So BetBoom and Gaimin Gladiators, they're going blow for blow here, Snare. I'm not quite sure who's really got the advantage right now, especially with the smoke going in.
More blows are coming as Celery, the first one, grabbed in. He gets pulverized down. I think Dyrachyo is very happy to see that spell committed onto anybody else except himself. It's like somebody has to tank it, my friend. So BetBoom are also slowly but surely clawing the way back into this one. They were starting to lose a grip and control, but they figured out that their ticket isn't necessarily to go for these full-throated large fights, just poking and prodding. A pick off here, a pick off there, shove out some lanes, recongregate close together, go for another smoke. It's been some very intricate map play coming in from the side of BetBoom. It's a reason why, despite being the team that not that long ago was under pressure on their own high ground, here they are with most of the lanes pushed out. They've consigned Gaimin Gladiators to play within their own jungle. And they've gotten control of the Roshan pit. The big man is going to be up in 50 seconds. BetBoom will be the first ones to read this. However, this is also a place where we've seen the side of Gaimin Gladiators have a very good way to fight around the pit itself, especially if Dyrachyo can get involved in the midst of the fray with its Hurricane Pike. And now they're going to smoke. Who should be the primary target here, Fluke, if they do manage to find a good wraparound here?
If they can find Lal, that is their best target to be able to take down right now. They can fight through the global silence. If they get rid of this Zeus, that's a lot of damage that goes away for BetBoom. Lal's standing on the high ground here. He's got Blink and Heavenly Jump, though.
Oh, there's going to be the Walrus kick. They throw Notice back into the rest of the team. Even with Rolling Thunder, they just right-click him down. DeRicho giving the same favor over towards Roger as well. DeRicho, will he be able to kill Soneko? Doesn't need to. The Sunstrike from Boom will do the trick. Now, all of a sudden, it's only the Zeus and Weaver remaining. The two of them have enough mobility to be able to escape away from this fight. Just as the big man respawns, they're going to go check the pit. It gets pinged out by Ace. What a reward for that fight. So, Tofu, you were mentioning it earlier that whenever Tofu dies first, BetBoom just feel like they have much more maneuverability, much more space in the midst of these fights. But whenever he's the one finding the initiation, suddenly Gaimin Gladiators just look like they're on the front foot every single time. They've gotten the Aegis, they've gotten the cheese, and I'm clicking on our young DeRicho Shadow Fiend, and I'm seeing the Aghanim Scepter being dropped by the Roche as well.
Yeah, so he gets himself a few extra souls here as well. He gets the double use of the Requiem souls. So DeRicho, he's had all the eggs thrown in his basket this game. He's been able to come up trumps for his team here at Gaimin Gladiator to be able to hold strong. I mean, the mental on this man, and he was being hunted by a Primal Beast throughout the entirety of this game. So really kind of shout outs to the Captain Celery here on Gaimin Gladiators to be able to keep the lads going forward here in this game, understanding that they just didn't really lose all too much. They didn't really lose any of their tier 2 towers until recently, where Dahak was able to get a lot of this kind of split pushing going, and understanding that once they get towards this kind of critical mass for the Shadow Fiend, then they don't really have to worry about much. Now the Satanic is done for DeRicho. He can move in towards something like a Butterfly. Like, he is absolutely monstrous on the map. Finally has taken the top net worth as well with 31k. And Gaimin Gladiators, they're in the driver's seat here, Snare. You know, it looked like BetBoom were able to take this first game against all odds from the draft, but they just weren't able to close this game out, and now it's starting to get very, very hard for them. I think they need to try and catch out DeRicho and try and catch him with, you know, maybe a Rolling Thunder directly, just get the onslaught going in and see if they can get the Pulverize before he BKBs, but they don't really have a good answer once he BKBs, because Dahak doesn't have his own answers. He doesn't have his own BKB. He's got the Mjolnir now as well. He's got a little bit of damage with the Chrysalis, but he's not really able to put that much pressure on anybody else, especially when DeRicho, like, kind of 3-shots the rest of his team.
DeRicho, the man of the hour, here he is on the high ground. Kofu gets yet another kick, tosses Roger back into the fray. This time around, though, they couldn't burst him down in time. The BKBs come a little bit too late from the side of Gaimin Gladiators. They've lost so much HP. Will they be able to escape this fight? Notice with the Rolling Thunder, can't do much to dissuade the Requiem. And Roger will end up getting bursted by the Requiem on the comeback. But here's Law. You get kicked back into the rest of GG. You will be safe for a small second in time, but will still end up dead. Forced to buy back. Boom in the meantime out of the BKB, so he's in danger as well. He's able to get off the Ghost Walk and go to the low ground where there is a lack of vision from BetBoom. That'll keep him alive. What can BetBoom do to try to keep these racks alive as Law, Tofu yet again showing his quality in this game, showing why they first phase his task. He jumps in, forces a dieback, and if BetBoom can't force GG out of their base right now, Tofu might have just forced the game. They've taken a second lane. They're looking for their heads-up megas. It's 3v5. What can they do here? Dahak trying his best, activates his BKB. They're going on to DeRicho. They're going on to the Silencer first, though, and unfortunately, Dahak just doesn't have enough damage to stop them. Notice being forced to run away now, as Shadow Fiend really wanted to right-click him down. But he just leaves him. He's like, what do I care? So Neko, if they see you, my friend, Tofu's gonna kick you. Tofu looking for his next target. Who will be my next victim? And indeed it is the Silencer. He's caught, he's killed, he's gone. Roger going in with the onslaught, but this time around roared back into place. Dahak, he can't even get away with the Sakuchi. He'll die to the radial damage of the radial deafening blast as well as the Requiem. And that's just gonna be that. GG, well played. It was called. BetBoom get taken to task by Gaimin Gladiators. They couldn't close it out in time, Fluke, so they get punished in the late game. GG, make game 1 of the group stages a thriller.
Yeah, I mean, what a good way for them to be able to start out their TI group stages, right? We came into this for solo drafts. I said Gaimin Gladiators draft is pretty straightforward for them to execute, right? Get Shadow Fiend to a point